Hey, it's Marshall again. Did you know there's a community and culture around knives? In fact, it might even surprise you how involved it really is. Some have even referred to certain aspects of the knife community as a cult, which is basically true, but not in the sense you might be thinking of. Does the knife community have a dark underworld? Or is it just a community of people that have a deep passion for knives? Like, deeply passionate. Want to know more? Stick around and I'll give you all the details. As you guessed, today we're going to talk about the knife community, the culture, and subcultures within it. So, like everything else, cars, sports, firearms, video games, there's a community built around them and a culture to that community and subcultures within it. The community is all of us who have bought a knife and use it, ranging from the average Joe who has a few knives to the most obsessed collector and the largest manufacturer and everything else in between. So the community is consumers, people like you and I and any other person you probably know, be it for hunting knives or pocket knives. These are the consumers. These are the heart and soul of what makes the knife community work, because without them, there would be no community. Then we have collectors. These are your more diehard knife people. They will collect knives based on either brand or maker or style or even the materials that are used in the knife. Then we have dealers and retailers. These are your general businesses. They are cutlery store that you might have on the corner, or the guy that works at the knife counter at a hardware store or sporting goods store, or your big online retailers and even small online retailers. Then we have professional collectors. These are called purveyors for the most part. And they specialize more in your most rare knives, antique knives, custom handmade knives. They're going to be at the higher end of the pricing spectrum because they cater specifically to the collector. They've got all the rare and good stuff that's hard to find. That way you're not always searching through flea markets for the old stuff or having to go to a knife show for the new rare stuff. On the manufacturing end, because manufacturing is very much part of the knife community, we have that broken up into a couple of different categories. So like we have our micro manufacturers that everybody knows and loves. These are your guys that are in between the handmade knives and the major manufacturers. So they might only produce a few hundred knives a month, or even as low as 50 knives a month. They're still a manufacturer. Then we have major brands. These are like Benchmade, Buck, Spyderco, all the companies that we know and love. And they can produce tens of thousands of knives a month. And you find them in just about every business that might possibly carry a knife. The last part of the community is the online aspect of it, and to a certain extent, in-person aspect of it. So we have things like online knife forums and message boards. We have social media, Instagram, Facebook, all of these, even Pinterest will have an entire subsection of knives. With that, you see lots of photos taken in high detail showing off the knives. You see accessories and accoutrements in there. The photos can be very staged. On the message boards, you get very deep conversations that go along with it. And then lastly, we have the more in-person side, which is knife clubs. And these are organizations that often have membership requirements. They have their online venues, and then they also have local meet and greets. You could have a knife club in your town meeting up at some restaurant or coffee shop or even a knife shop somewhere, to talk about knives and have their moment of geekdom, seeing what's new for everybody else in the club. Then we have the culture, and the culture is a little bit more detailed. So knife culture is the fandom around knives within the greater knife community. This includes things like fan groups. Every brand, just like with cars, you've got the Ford, Chevy, Dodge people. You have the same thing in the knife culture. So there's definitely a bias on brands, and you'll get people that swear by one knife over any other. But that's not all the culture is. The culture also divides up into similar interests. So with the knives comes a bunch of other gear, such as being interested in firearms and concealed carry and going out to the range and shooting and the gear associated with that. Watches, unique jewelry, fine writing instruments, EDC gear like pocket pry bars and bottle openers. And then we also have the branded clothing. Just like any other market out there, there's branded clothing. People want to wear clothing, hats, t-shirts, hoodies that represent their favorite brands. And with the knife industry and the knife community, it's no different. They like to make fashion statements with it. You can sometimes even see accessory bags to carry your collection in that are branded to one particular company or manufacturer or even custom maker. And then you have the quintessential knife show uniform. When you go to a knife show, it's kind of funny. You're going to notice that there's a few different types of people, everything from your biker slash Viking to your paramilitary guy, all decked out in the latest tactical clothing, or even people that are wearing a suit or button-down shirt and tie and look very business related, to even seeing a more comic booky, gamer Comic-Con type dressed person. These are the four main styles of knife show uniform, and they each follow a different aspect of the knife community in whole. We also have in the knife culture slang and jargon. There's different acronyms. I know you've heard us use on the channel here many times. EDC, that stands for everyday carry. You've got a lot of different jargon that is more specific to the knife world. And as you jump into the online experience or go to a knife show, you're going to start to hear it and put it together. It's not real hard to learn, but it can take a time to figure it out, and it would be a whole video of its own. Now, that's the general knife culture. Now there's subcultures within that, and these subcultures are typically broken up as follows. You have the EDC and tactical knives together. And so you're going to see here some examples of EDC and tactical knives. Then you have your traditional knife guys. They like the old-fashioned pocket knives and the classic hunting knives and kitchen knives and outdoor knives. And you'll see a nice example of that here. Then there's a very large subculture within the knife culture, and that is forged knives and swords. This is where we have an elite group of skilled craftsmen who are keeping the old ways alive. Pretty much everything from 100 years ago on back. So these guys will hand forge out blades, they fold the steel and make Damascus, or they make the Japanese tamahagane. They build swords, and they won't necessarily use a drill press. They'll use forging tools and punch a hole through their blade or handle components. These guys are keeping the ancient history of knives alive, and it's really a sight to be seen. The last subculture we have is probably the most elite and the smallest, and this is art knives. And there's a reason it's elite and small. These knives cost big bucks. So here's an example of some art knives made by Buster Warinsky. These are his 3 crowning pieces. They were all made for the same collector, handmade by him and him alone. Every bit of work seen on those pictures is by him. And these knives together appraise at roughly $35 million. Back in the late 80s, and through the 90s and early 2000s, each one of those knives cost $1 million to $2.5 million a piece, brand new, before any collector's value set in. So art knives can get as low as, say, $3,000 a piece, but as you can see, the sky is the limit for what they're worth, and they will appreciate and even often end up in museums. For instance, Buster Warinsky, who you saw the pieces from him earlier, he's got knives in the museums like the Smithsonian, the Louvre, the Royal Saudi Museum, the Museum of Tokyo. His knives are in all of those places, and they will be cherished for generations to come. Hey guys, got some great news for you. Got an update on the Asgeir. The prototyping is done. We're very happy with the results. We're also in the earliest stages of design on the next model, so look for that to be coming out a little ways down the road. The website is done but not live. We've got our reveal coming out on video for the Asgeir coming out on the 30th of August. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. You're going to want to watch. The website will be going live for the pre-order with the reveal. So make sure that you're subscribed. Click the notification bell. If you haven't done any of this yet, do it now so that you don't miss out. Now, our video is going to be an event for us. We're going to be doing a premiere video, so myself and Marissa will be live in chat with you from a little before the video starts till as long as people want to hang around and talk. We're going to be able to answer questions for you. The reveal video is going to cover the details of the Asgeir, materials, build quality, things like that. You're going to get some good close-up shots of it. We're going to be going over how the pre-sale is going to work, what you need to do, where you need to go to do it. And of course, on our YouTube channel, you'll be able to find all our social media links. And then lastly, make sure you are subscribed. Notification bell is clicked because we will not be debuting this knife anywhere else except on YouTube. With all of that out of the way, are you part of the knife community? Are you in the knife culture? Where do you fit in? Do you have different ideas of the knife community? Let us know in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. We hope you learned something and enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw, make sure to stab that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next video, the Asgeir reveal. Our pre-order will be going live with that video, so make sure you stay tuned for it. Until next time, take care and stay sharp.